sitting here in your office at Hampden Park. I don't suppose the novelty of naming a Scotland squad for a major tournament ever wears off?
No, it's nice to be able to name a squad, slightly larger than we're allowed to take away, but there's reasons for that probably I'm sure you'll ask a decent question and I'll come across it.
We'll try our best. I heard you say in a previous interview you had 60 names scribbled on a bit of paper. That 60's become 28, which will become 26. What have the last few months been like for you?
Pretty long, to be honest. Obviously some disappointments along the way. The last camp wasn't our best camp, I think, if we're being honest about that. But you learn a lot. You learn a lot for bad results. You learn a lot as you're going along. Was always with the aim in mind to get to this stage of the summer and name a squad that we think can go to Germany and be really competitive and hopefully create a little bit of history for Scottish football.
I don't imagine you're a sticker book guy, I could be wrong, but have you allowed yourself to enjoy bits of the build-up? I know you're not going there to be tourists, but have you allowed yourself to enjoy some of the build-up?
Not really. Not really. Like I said, when you're sitting, you come towards the end of the season, you've got a good idea of most of the squad that you're going to select, and then obviously you get hit with a few blows. It takes a little bit of the enjoyment away from it. So it's nice to come now and be able to name a squad, and hopefully from that we can come up with a good list of 26 to take away to Germany.
Every supporter picks their own squad, and it's maybe a lot easier on the outside. You have to take a lot of things into consideration in terms of blend, group of people, different things, boys that have served you well over the last campaign and beyond. What goes through your head? What's the process been like?
Process is, as always, to try and be good to the people who deserve to be treated well. But always mindful of the fact that people need to play games. It's why there's a bigger squad. We've got one or two doubts even going in this late into the season. We've still got games to play, or some of the boys, I think over a third of the squad have still got games to play to finish off their season. So there's many things that can go wrong. For me, the biggest thing is I have to take people that I feel deserve to be there, and it might not always be the obvious ones. It might be people that deserve to be there for various reasons. But they've also got to be good and ready to turn up on the pitch as and when required. So it's probably been a slightly more complicated selection process than the one for the last Euros going into the delayed Euro 2020. This one's been a little bit more troublesome, if you like.
In terms of having those extra spots or more choice? Or?
The extra spots certainly made it more complicated rather than less complicated, if I'm being honest. Normally you pick up a couple of injuries along the way. Unfortunately we've picked up four injuries of boys that probably would have made the squad that haven't made the squad, which means that your selection then becomes a little bit more tricky, and eventually you get to a stage where I'm at now, and I've named 28, and I've got to narrow that down to 26 over the next 10 days, so the next 2 weeks, and that's what we'll do.
You have to be pragmatic and make the tough decisions, but at the same time you've built up relationships with these boys, so when the likes of Lewis Ferguson, Nathan Patterson, Jacob Brown, Aaron Hickey all drop out, it must be tough for you in two senses. Obviously you lose them from a football perspective, but also as boys, you know what they're missing out on.
No, I think for the four boys that you've just named there, they've always been part of the squads. They've been an integral part of the squad. They all played their part in the qualification process, and to get that injury that rules you out a major tournament is disappointing. One thing I would say is that all of them can be ready for the next tournament, so they missed this one, and hopefully we can in the future take them to another tournament. The conversations are difficult because you know how disappointed the players are, but it's also about pointing out how well they've done for you, thanking them for their efforts over the qualifying campaign, and making sure that they focus on the recovery and get ready to go. And on the other side of that, then there's opportunity for other players coming into the squad to impress in the summer.
Well, you mentioned opportunity. It has been a consistent, tight group, but we see James Forrest coming back in after a lengthy absence, after a really strong end to the season, and at the other end of the scale, Ben Doak, obviously masses of potential. What were some of the things that attracted you to James and Ben?
I think the fact that they grab your attention. I think that's an important thing for a player to be able to do, is to grab the attention of the head coach or the watching public. Everybody likes to be excited. You watch Ben Doak play, and I've watched Ben quite a lot with the 21s. You see him making an impact at Liverpool. So you know he's got talent. You know that he's obviously got a lot to work on. And this just felt like the right moment to bring Ben into the squad. He's recovering from a relatively long-term, probably a medium-term injury. So he'll come into the squad desperate to show us what to do. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum where someone like James Forrest, for me, it's a great example to a lot of professional footballers where you're saying, okay, it's not going well for you at your club, you're not getting selected, but obviously James has worked very professionally, very diligently behind the scenes. He's never let his head drop. He's always kept up really high professional standards, and that's why he's back playing at the level he's back. And it shows that although we keep trying to evolve the squad, there is always space for someone to come back to the squad, and it's nice to see James in there.
It's back-to-back Euros. It is maybe easy to take this group of people for granted because it is two big achievements back-to-back, but what have they done well to get here?
Consistency. I think when you look over the years, obviously we got to the last Euros through the playoff. We said we'd build on that. I believe we did with the World Cup qualifying campaign. Obviously you get to the playoffs and you have one off night, as we did here against Ukraine, then you don't get to the World Cup. But from that, you bounce back, you get yourself going again, you have another great qualifying campaign, and suddenly you're in your second major tournament in 3 qualifying and 3 campaigns. So that's a big achievement. So consistency of performance, I think. I spoke when I first came in about giving people more caps, keeping the core group of the squad together. I think I've been very true to my word on that. And the players have repaid me and repaid their country by their performances, and it's nice to be going to another major tournament.
It feels like in 2 or 3 weeks the country's going to empty. It feels like everyone's setting off for Germany. You've been in their shoes, you've been to big Scotland games with the family, you've seen some big moments. There's a lot for everyone to look forward to, you, the players and supporters alike.
Yeah, I think for the supporters, go there, enjoy yourselves, behave yourself, and don't let your country down. And hopefully on the pitch, we'll go there. The players will go there, they'll behave themselves, and they don't let their country down on the pitch. I think
that's one thing you can say about this team, is that they do leave it all on the pitch. You'll have no concerns on that side.
No, listen, the quality of performance for the core group of players has been outstanding over the last 5 years of my tenure, really. So no complaints on that. We have a chance to make history, and we'll go there and we'll give it our best shot.
And looking forward to a big send-off against Finland here at Hampden.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Obviously the last game at Hampden was a disappointment for us, so we look to go into the tournament on the back of 2 good performances and 2 good wins in the friendly games.